Welcome to Gridiron Ring, a sports talk show covering football and professional wrestling. I'm your host, Luke96. Today, college football week 8 predictions and NFL week 7 predictions. So hopefully you enjoy this audio recording. Let me know what you guys like, what you guys want. Audio, video, I'm down to do both. Was testing the audio out last week. I think I did alright, so I figured I'd do it again this week. And I will be putting my college football and NFL predictions for this upcoming weekend together in the same audio recording as last week. So hopefully you enjoy. If you do, be sure to hit that like button right here on YouTube. Also, subscribe to Gridiron Ring right here on YouTube as well. Like, follow, and subscribe on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and go check out Gridiron Ring's website as well. My Twitter and Instagram links are also in the description with those links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and Gridiron Ring's website. So be sure to go check those out. All the links are in the description below. We can get right into it today. College football week 8 predictions with a week 7 recap, and NFL week 7 predictions with a week 6 recap. So last weekend in college football, as you can tell, I'm a little bit under the weather. Got a little bit of a cold going on. That's why I was not on Periscope for WWE SmackDown 1000 last night. I know I said a lot last weekend in that audio recording for college football and NFL that'd be on for SmackDown 1000, but I just wasn't feeling up to it. Hell, I'm not really feeling up to doing this audio recording, but I'm going to try to push through it and get this out to all the listeners. So hopefully, as I said, hopefully you enjoy. 19-9 last weekend in college football, 113-51 on the year. 19-9, as I said, not 1999, even though some teams were partying like it, as Prince would say, with all the upsets this past weekend. 8 teams in the top 25 lost, 4 of those in the top 10. This past weekend was crazy, or 2 weeks ago was crazy, week 6 of college football. But this past weekend, week 7, was crazier. For the second consecutive week, we've had at least 3 teams in the top 10 go down. I would not want to be ranked in the top 10 at the moment. But last Thursday, that was the first game I did, predicted. Texas Tech went east from Lubbock to Fort Worth, the Red Raiders defeated the Horned Frogs by 3, 17-14. San Diego State defeated Air Force 21-17 after an hour rain delay. Utah defeated Kevin Sumlin's Arizona Wildcats by 32, 42-10. Auburn lost for the second consecutive week. They lost to Mississippi State last weekend, lost to Tennessee at home on Saturday by 6, 30-24. Auburn Tiger fans are now calling for Gus Malzahn's head. The coaching carousel will start to pick up here from late October, middle of October now, to late October to early November. We actually saw our first head coach get fired this past weekend. Bowling Green fired their head coach. But we'll have to see if Auburn fires Malzahn. He just signed a big extension after last season. His buyout is at about $8 million, I believe. So the boosters will have to come up with that money to fire Malzahn if they want to go in a new direction. We'll have to see. Malzahn, he's a good coach. Auburn's just in a slump right now. They defeated Washington week 1 in Atlanta. Really were riding high up until they lost to Mississippi State last weekend, and now they have lost 2 consecutive games. Another SEC game, Florida went to Nashville, defeated Vandy by 10, 37-27. A couple Big Ten games now last weekend. Iowa went to Bloomington. The Hawkeyes defeated the Hoosiers 42-16. Ohio State defeated Minnesota 30-14. And then Nebraska, the Cornhuskers, fall to 0-6 for the first time ever. Can next season come any sooner for the Cornhuskers? I'm sure that's what everybody out in Lincoln is thinking at the moment. But Northwestern defeated Nebraska in Evanston at home in overtime, 34-31. Nebraska actually had a 98% chance to win this game with about a minute to go, and then they let it slip right underneath their feet, and Northwestern Wildcats defeated the Cornhuskers in overtime. As I said, Nebraska is 0-6 now for the first time ever. Duke defeated Georgia Tech in the ACC 28-14. Also in the ACC, Boston College defeated Louisville 38-20. Another ACC team and a team that plays 5 ACC games per year, Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish defeated the Pitt Panthers in South Bend 19-14. Notre Dame scored with about 5 minutes to go. They hung on once again. They hung on against Ball State, out of the MAC, and Vanderbilt out of the SEC. And then now they just hung on against Pitt. Notre Dame will lose, I think, by the end of the regular season, even though they don't have a tough schedule. Their only tough game is the last regular season game of the season, and that is at USC in Los Angeles at the Coliseum. So we'll have to see if Notre Dame slips up before then, or if they're undefeated going into that USC game on November 24th. In the Big Ten, Michigan State came to Happy Valley, defeated Penn State 21-17. Nittany Lions, they have lost to Ohio State and Michigan State now in consecutive games for the second straight season. Missed field goal by Jake Pinniger for Penn State came back and bit Penn State in the ass. They wouldn't have had to throw a Hail Mary there at the end of the game, even though Trace McSorley couldn't even get the ball to the 15-yard line. Penn State's last 5 losses going back to the Rose Bowl when they played USC at the end of the 2016 season on January 2nd, 2017. The last 5 losses, the 2 Ohio State games the past 2 years and the 2 Michigan State games the past 2 years have been decided by a combined 12 points. So Penn State's in it right up until the end, and then they find a way to lose. They go to Indiana this weekend. See if Penn State can bounce back against the Hoosiers. They are 20-1 all-time against Indiana. In the SEC, LSU defeated Georgia by 20, 36-16. Largest win for LSU versus a top 2 team all time. Texas Tech defeated South Carolina 26-23. Oregon upset Washington at home 30-27. That was an overtime. Washington lost to Auburn week 1, as I said, and now they lost to Oregon. So 2 losses. Who knows? This might be the first year a 2-loss team makes the playoff. If things continue to go the way that they're going right now in college football with the 4 top teams in the country, with Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Notre Dame, if they run the table, win their conferences, Notre Dame, independent, won't have to play a conference championship game. They'll have that week off. We'll have to see if the committee puts them in, or if they'll take the 5th or 6th, maybe the 7th best team in the country if they are a conference champion. But the past couple years, being a conference champion really hasn't meant shit. Remember last year, 2 years ago, Penn State won the Big Ten, and Ohio State got in over them, even though Penn State defeated the Buckeyes. But we'll have to see what happens. It'll be hard for all these teams that have 2 losses to inch their way back up into the top 10, top 8 to potentially make it to the college football playoff. But it's a long season. It's only the middle of October, still got another month and a half of football left to be played. Oregon, they go to Washington State this weekend. College Gameday is in Pullman for the first time. Their only loss is to Stanford. That was also in overtime in Eugene. So Oregon fans, they've been playing. Oregon's been playing in a couple overtime games as of late. Justin Herbert looking like a true NFL quarterback. We'll have to see if he gets drafted high in the NFL draft next year. Oregon, they're in the driver's seat at the moment to go to the Pac-12 championship game, but they got to get past Washington State this Saturday, as both teams are 5-1, and whoever wins that game Saturday night, I'll get to that game here in a minute, will be in full control in the Pac-12 North, and you got a good game in the Pac-12 South this weekend as well. USC goes to Utah to play the Utes, so whoever wins that game will more than likely be in the driver's seat in the Pac-12 South. Whoever wins each division obviously will be playing each other in the conference championship game on December 1st out in Santa Clara. Texas defeated Baylor in the Big 12 by 6, 23-17. Central Florida came back, defeated Memphis on the road 31-30. Temple defeated Navy also in the American Athletic Conference 24-17. Alabama defeated Missouri by almost 30, 39-10. Tua Tagovailoa was injured in this game, but he should be all good to go this weekend when Alabama goes to Knoxville to play Tennessee. Chip Kelly got his first win as the UCLA head coach as the Bruins defeated Cal 37-7. Iowa State defeated West Virginia in Ames. Told you last week, the Mountaineers, you guys need to be on upset alert. Well, they just got upset by the Cyclones 30-14. Will Grier only 100 yards passing. Dana Holgorsen, the head coach for the Mountaineers, said it's the worst offensive performance he has ever seen. Virginia, they hosted the Miami Hurricanes in Charlottesville, and Miami got upset just as I thought they would after riding high after beating rival Florida State. So Virginia defeated Miami 16-13 at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. In the SEC, Ole Miss defeated Arkansas 37-33. Michigan defeated Wisconsin in the Big Ten 38-13. Michigan may be the hottest team in the country at the moment. BYU, let me know what you think about that in the comments below. BYU defeated Hawaii 49-23. Pac-12 and the late games this past Saturday night. USC defeated Colorado by 11, 31-20. Boise State defeated Nevada by 4, 31-27. And then Fresno State, the Bulldogs, defeated the Wyoming Cowboys 27-3. Week 8 now in college football. Got a game, 2 games Friday night, and then the rest are on Saturday. West Coast games on Friday. Stanford goes to Arizona State, and Colorado State goes to Boise to play the Broncos. Give me Stanford to bounce back after losing in 2 consecutive games. I believe they were off last weekend. So give me Stanford over Arizona State. Arizona State, Herm Edwards, the Fighting Edwards, as Lee Corso said on Game Day there a couple weeks ago. They've died down after beating Michigan State. But that's a big win. That's a good win for the Sun Devils, with Michigan State picking up a big win against Penn State after losing to Northwestern the week before. So give me Stanford over Arizona State, and give me Boise State over Colorado State. That Colorado State-Boise State game looking like it's going to be the question of the day on Friday, October 19th. Also, there's going to be another Mega Millions Powerball lottery drawing. Mega Millions lottery drawing. Mega Millions and Powerball. 2 different lottery games. But Colorado State, Boise State, looking like it's going to be the question of the day on Friday. We'll have to see depending on what happens in the baseball playoffs. Auburn goes to Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss. They beat Arkansas last weekend in Fayetteville on the road. Auburn coming off 2 consecutive losses. If Auburn does lose again, I think they will, it's going to get ugly on the Plains. They probably will fire Gus Malzahn after that, after losing 3 consecutive games to average SEC teams. They lost to especially Tennessee, Mississippi State. They were in a slump right before that Auburn game, and then they got out of it. They lost to Kentucky and Florida there back-to-back weeks. Tennessee, of the 3 teams, would be the crappiest team. Ole Miss, they've been down, but they're starting to get back up. They're Matt Luke, the head coach of the Rebels, is getting that program back off the ground after Hugh Freeze was fired there, or he stepped down right before last season. But this game's a home game for Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss. Give me the Rebs over the Tigers. Some Big 12 games now, or Big 10 games, excuse me. Illinois goes to Madison to play Wisconsin. Illinois is better than you think they are. They got a good running game. If you can run the ball, help the quarterback out, open up the play action there. It's common sense in football, if you ask me. They could beat Wisconsin, down the field in the passing game. But this game is being played in Madison, home game for Wisconsin. So it'll be closer than what you think. But give me the Badgers to bounce back after losing to Michigan. And they're one of those, two lost teams in the country as well. They lost to BYU at home earlier. So they aren't, undefeated at home all year or the past, couple years. Like, a team can go in there and beat them. Like I said, I think it'll be close on Saturday at noon. This will be a lunchtime kick in the Big Ten, 11 o'clock local time, as Illinois goes to Madison to play Wisconsin. But I think the Badgers will bounce back after losing to Michigan over the Fighting Illini. So give me Wisconsin over Illinois. Maryland goes to Iowa City to play the Hawkeyes. Iowa, they're ranked in the top 25. They might be, other than Michigan, the hottest team. Throw Ohio State in there as well. Don't want to forget about the Buckeyes. They might be the hottest team in the Big Ten, other than Michigan and Ohio State. And that Michigan-Ohio State game at the end of the year on November 24th is shaping up to be another big game. Hopefully it'll be a good game as well. Give me Iowa, though. Give me the Hawkeyes over the Terrapins. I'll see Iowa next weekend when they come right here to Happy Valley on October 27th. A team I saw last weekend, Michigan State. They host the Wolverines of Michigan. As I said earlier there and just a second ago, Michigan, I think, let me know in the comments below, like I said, I think they're the hottest team in college football right now. They lost to Notre Dame week 1, and they haven't lost since. They've changed some things up, but they've, stayed the course. Everybody was getting down on them. But Michigan, they're back in the top 10. They go to East Lansing for a rivalry game this weekend with Michigan State. As I said, that Ohio State game at the end of the year shaping up to be a good game. Hopefully they're not looking that far ahead. As I said, they got to go to Michigan State, battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. Always a fun game to watch. A couple years ago, the 2015 game in Ann Arbor, College Gameday was there for that. Corso picked Michigan. He was probably happy with himself there with 10 seconds to go. Michigan punts. The wildest play I've ever seen, other than the 2013 Alabama-Auburn game with the kick 6 return, and Auburn defeated Alabama on that that was late November. They always play at the end of November during rivalry weekend there. And then Auburn pushed Alabama out of the BCS National Championship game against Florida State, which would have been a good game. And then Auburn almost beat Jameis Winston and Jimbo Fisher in that national championship game out at the Rose Bowl. I know I'm going on here. I'm trying to connect everything, trying to look back at the past, trying to relive some history today, as I try to all the time. But because this connects to Gus Malzahn as well. He was a couple seconds away from winning a national championship, and then they're down the year after that. Maybe they were down for like 2 years after that. Had a good year last year, and then they lose 2 in a row, and everybody's calling for his head again. But go back to the 2015 game for Michigan and Michigan State, and the wildest play, other than the kick 6, as I said, was the blocked punt. Well, it was a bad snap, as Sean McDonough would say, and Michigan State picked it up and ran it in and won the game as time expired. So this Michigan State game is always a fun one to watch. Michigan, like I said, I think they're the hottest team in the country right now. This will be close this game could go to overtime. I remember growing up as well. It was in Ann Arbor. Always seems like the fun games happen when Michigan is hosting Michigan State. I remember a couple years ago, I think I was 16. Yeah, because it's the odd years they play in East Lansing, and the even years, or no, the even years they play in East Lansing, excuse me, and the odd years they play in Ann Arbor. The games that they play in East Lansing, they seem like they're always blowouts. Because 2 years ago, Michigan got payback for that 2015 game, if I can remember correctly, and then it was 2003, had to have been 2003, maybe four. Chad Henne, Braylon Edwards, Mario Manningham, Mike Hart, all those great Michigan Wolverines. They hosted Michigan State, and the game went to triple overtime. Could we see that again this weekend? Possibly. We'll see. Tune in. Games at noon Eastern on Fox. I know I'll be watching that game. I'll watch Penn State at 3:30. As I said, if I'm feeling up to it, Saturday afternoon at 3:30 on ABC, I'll be on Periscope for Penn State, Indiana. So I'm not feeling that good recording this, but this Michigan State game, hopefully it'll be a good one. Give me the Wolverines over the Spartans. Michigan will be off then on the 27th. Then they'll host Penn State on November 3rd. Oklahoma goes to TCU. This game last year was played at night in Oklahoma, in Norman there, and Oklahoma routed the Horned Frogs. And then they ended up playing in the Big 12 championship game as the Big 12 for that conference championship game. The top two teams in the conference will play each other in the conference championship game. So Oklahoma and TCU were the top two teams, even though Oklahoma had got the best of the Horned Frogs earlier in the season. Oklahoma lost to Texas there 2 weeks ago, fired their defensive coordinator, Mark Stoops. I know it's not Bob, I think it's Mike. There's three Stoops brothers. They got a connection with, as I said, I'm going back in time here a little bit. They got a connection with Bo Pelini, Carl Pelini. Carl Pelini actually going to take over the interim job for Bowling Green. As I said, they fired their head coach. Maybe he gets the Bowling Green job. Who knows? But they got a connection with Youngstown, Ohio. They all grew up there, and Bo Pelini, actually the head coach for Youngstown State for the Penguins in the FCS. They're doing all right this season as well. But Oklahoma, I think Kyler Murray's just too good. TCU, they're going to have to dial up a lot of stuff on defense. I think it'll be closer than both games last year, because Baker Mayfield, that is, got the best of TCU in both games last year. But give me Oklahoma over TCU. Cincinnati goes to Temple. Bearcats are 6-0 in the American Athletic Conference. The American Athletic Conference, surprisingly, quietly as well, has a couple teams ranked in the top 25. You got Cincinnati, you got South Florida, you got Central Florida as well. They're undefeated. They came back and defeated Memphis on the road last weekend. They go to East Carolina this weekend. Cincinnati, I think, will get to 7-0. The last time they were undefeated up to this point during the season was 2009. That's the year they went to the Sugar Bowl, lost to the Florida Gators. Virginia, they head south to Duke. Give me the Cavaliers to win 2 in a row there in the ACC. Florida Atlantic, they head north to West Virginia to play the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Give me Marshall over the Lane Train and the Florida Atlantic Owls. Penn State, they go to Bloomington to play the Indiana Hoosiers. As I said, Penn State's 20-1 against Indiana all time. Actually almost went to this game, decided not to. But Penn State, as I said earlier, have lost to Ohio State and Michigan State in consecutive games now for the second straight season. Last 5 losses, 12 combined points. Penn State, I think they'll bounce back. I thought they were going to bounce back against Michigan State. If this game was at noon on Saturday, it's at 3:30 on ABC. But if it was at noon, I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State would lose 3 in a row. You got an early kick, 11 o'clock local time there in the Central Time Zone out in Bloomington, Indiana. Penn State, they have started. They're a mix this year of what they've been the past couple years. One year they're a first half team, and then they don't do shit in the second half. And then the next year, they don't do anything in the first half, and they're a second half team. This year, it's been a mix of both. Who knows what will happen on Saturday, if they'll start out strong or not. But I probably would take Indiana. Probably not, but who knows. You probably have to pay me a lot of money to do that, in all honesty. But give me Penn State over Indiana on Saturday. It really stung again. I know I stuttered there a little bit, but it really stung losing to Michigan State and Ohio State 2 years in a row in back-to-back games. In the SEC, Alabama goes to Knoxville to play Tennessee. Bama, I think they'll win this game big over the Volunteers. Tennessee, they think they're on top of the world at the moment after beating Auburn. Well, they got to play the other powerhouse in the state of Alabama, and that's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Give me Alabama and Tua Tagovailoa. He should be good to go on Saturday against Tennessee. Pac-12, Colorado goes to Washington. Washington looking to bounce back. Give me the Huskies. In the ACC, you got NC State going to Clemson and Wake Forest going to Florida State. Give me the home teams in that, so give me Clemson and Florida State. Nebraska, they host Minnesota. They're still looking for their first win after starting 0-6 for the first time ever. Give me the Cornhuskers. I'm going to pick them until they win at this point. They play Bethune-Cookman. They're on the 27th, so I think they'll win that game for sure. That might be their only win of the season. They might finish 1-11, 2-10 if they're lucky, because you look at November, the schedule isn't going to get any easier for the Cornhuskers. So I'm going to pick Nebraska until they win. Give me the Cornhuskers over the Golden Gophers. Memphis, they blew a lead against Central Florida last weekend. They go to Missouri to play the Tigers. Give me Memphis over Drew Lock and the Missouri Tigers. Mississippi State, while the team that beat Memphis last week before Mississippi State LSU was Central Florida. They go to East Carolina. I think Central Florida will win this game as well. Hopefully they don't have to play catch-up, though, this weekend against the Pirates. So give me Central Florida over East Carolina. Then Mississippi State LSU. Big game, 7 o'clock on ESPN in the SEC. Whoever wins this game would... well, if LSU loses, I'll say this. If LSU loses, they'll have 2 losses. Mississippi State would still have 2 losses. Mississippi State would have the head-to-head win. Alabama wins. Alabama still runs the table. You got Auburn there with 2 losses, maybe 3 after this weekend, maybe going after a new head coach as well. No one else in the SEC West is really that good in Alabama's league. As I said last week, I think Alabama's in a league of their own. It'll come down to the Alabama-LSU game, but Alabama's still probably going to run the table, and they'll probably still be the SEC West champs, and they'll be representing the SEC West in the SEC championship game against whoever wins the Florida-Georgia game. That's going to be, I believe, next week on the 27th. That might be where College Gameday is going to be at as well in Jacksonville. We'll have to see about that, depending on what happens this weekend. Is it going to be another crazy weekend like the past 2 weeks have been? We'll see. That's why they play the games. That's why you got to watch the games. But Mississippi State, they go to Baton Rouge at night. Always tough to beat the Tigers at night. Troy did it. I've said it on how many times this year. Mississippi State, though, I think they'll find a way to win, and they'll beat LSU. LSU's riding high after beating Georgia, after losing to Florida. As I said, they'll have 2 losses if they do lose. Mississippi State, if they lose, they'll probably finish either 7-5, 8-4, because they still got to play Alabama. They might lose to somebody else as well. We'll see. Mississippi State, though, I think will beat LSU on Saturday night. That'll be a good game to watch. As I said, Michigan State will be a good game to watch. Colorado, Washington, NC State, Clemson. The other Washington school, the Cougars, Washington State. They host Oregon at 7:30 on Fox. College Gameday is in town for the first time ever. The history with the Washington State flag being flown at like almost 220 or 30 consecutive College Gameday appearances is fun, I guess you could say. I don't really know. As I said, I'm really out of it today, folks. Don't really feel like doing this. Said I'm a little bit under the weather at the moment. But Washington State, they play Oregon. Whoever wins this game will be in full control in the Pac-12 North. I think with game day in town, everybody's going to be pumped up. Give me Washington State over Oregon. And then that USC-Utah game there at the end of this, not at the end of the season. The Pac-12 championship game will be at the end of the season. The USC-Utah game also on Saturday night in Utah. Whoever wins that game, as I said, will be in control of the Pac-12 South. And so whoever wins these games Saturday will probably be meeting each other in the Pac-12 title game in December. Kentucky, Vanderbilt, give me the Wildcats. Games in Lexington. Ohio State goes to Purdue. Big game for the Boilermakers, but the Buckeyes, they'll beat the Boilermakers. This will be probably a rout of Purdue. Nick Bosa leaving school at Ohio State. That's big news in Columbus this week. Gonna get ready for the NFL. Gonna probably be a top pick in the draft next year. He got injured there at the TCU game about a month ago, middle of September there. Hasn't played since, and was going to be coming back later in the year here, middle of November, late November. He decided the other day he's going to leave school and get ready for the NFL. So they'll have that hanging over their head. That'll maybe get Purdue more hyped up for this game Saturday night, 7:30 on ABC. But Ohio State's just too damn good for Purdue. So Ohio State over Purdue. North Texas, the Mean Green, will defeat University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB. Fresno State, New Mexico. Give me the Bulldogs. I'm riding high with them this year. USC, Utah, as I said. USC, they beat Colorado there at home last weekend. Big game for the Buffs. Big game for both teams, because both teams are the Pac-12 South. Whoever would have won that, you play Utah later on here. USC plays them this weekend. You have control in the Pac-12 South to get to the Pac-12 title game. But I think Utah, they've been impressing the past couple weekends. So give me the Utes over the Trojans. And then the last college football game before I get into my Week 7 NFL predictions is Arizona and UCLA. Give me Chip Kelly over Kevin Sumlin. Chip Kelly, UCLA Bruins will win 2 in a row this weekend, I believe. So those are my Week 8 college football predictions. Hopefully you enjoyed those. Stay tuned here for my NFL Week 7 predictions. But before I get into that, I just want to make sure, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and also go check out Gridiron Ring's website. All the links, including my Facebook, or my Twitter and Instagram, are in the description below. So scroll down, check those out. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about my College Football Week 8 predictions and my NFL Week 7 predictions. And I'll get to those right now. 8-5 last weekend in the NFL, 35-42-2 on the year. The Sunday night and Monday night games ended on game-winning field goals. The Los Angeles Rams are still the only undefeated team in the NFL. The Chiefs went down on Sunday night against the Patriots. Last Thursday night, though, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the New York Football Giants 34-13. Carson Wentz, he had 3 touchdowns in that game. Saquon Barkley, basically the only thing the Giants have going for them at the moment. He had 130 yards rushing and 99 yards receiving. Also had a touchdown on the ground. Seattle defeated Oakland across the pond over in London 27-3. Raiders 1-5 now. They are off this weekend. The Seahawks are also off this upcoming weekend. Both teams have byes. They're coming back from London. There will also be another London game this weekend. The Titans play the Chargers. I'll get to that game here in a minute. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 28-21. The Steelers let the Bengals come back in that game, but the Bengals, they blew it late. Ben Roethlisberger found Antonio Brown on a slant when the Bengals brought a blitz with it was probably about 20 seconds left to go in the game, and Brown walked into the end zone, and the Steelers won. All they needed was a field goal. They were in field goal range at that point anyway, and they ended up scoring a touchdown, one after going for 2, 28-21. James Conner, he's been playing well as of late. Le'Veon Bell still hasn't reported. I don't think Bell needs to come back. He probably played his last game as a Steeler last year in the playoffs against the Jaguars in that divisional round loss. But if Bell, would come back and Conner continues to play the way he's playing now, you have a 2-headed backfield in Pittsburgh, and that'll be hard to stop come later in the season. But the Steelers are fine. They also have a bye this weekend. There's 4 teams on byes this weekend: the Seahawks, Raiders, Steelers, and Packers. So they will not play this upcoming weekend. And then the Steelers will get back into things there in 2 weeks. They will play the Cleveland Browns at home. The Atlanta Falcons, who the Steelers beat last weekend, they defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who the Steelers defeated on Monday night there a couple weeks ago, 34-29. The Buccaneers, they fired their defensive coordinator, Mike Smith, after this game. So they'll be looking for a new defensive coordinator next season. The Washington Redskins defeated the Carolina Panthers at home 23-17. The Jets defeated the Colts 42-34. The Colts, in my opinion, are better than their 1-5 record. They should have beat Cincinnati week 1. They should have beat Philadelphia there week 3. They lost to the Texans in overtime due to a bonehead call. And then I thought they should have beat the Jets this past Sunday. The Jets, they had 7 field goals. That's 21 points. They lost by 8. He misses 3 of those 7. The Colts win. And, they stuck with the Patriots as well. The Colts did there on Thursday night there a couple weeks ago. But, you're playing Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose. Colts, 1-5. They play the... Who do the Colts play this weekend? Oh, they play the Buffalo Bills in Indianapolis. So that'll be a good game. Hopefully they'll win that and get to 2-5. Who knows? They could win out 11-5. Maybe they only lose 1 game the rest of the year. Really, really hard to do. But we've seen it before. Teams will get hot middle of the season after being down early, and they'll make a run towards the playoffs. 9 times out of 10 you don't get in because teams that are ahead of you already just continue to win, and then they're automatically in the playoffs at that point. But the Colts, they're better than their 1-5 record. The Chargers came to Cleveland, defeated the Browns 38-14. The Dolphins defeated the Bears 31-28 in overtime. Caleb Parkey, the kicker for the Bears, he's going to get his ass parked on the bench if he can't kick field goals. Missed a 48-yard field goal wide right, and the Bears lost in overtime to the Dolphins. That was a crazy game, back and forth, but the Dolphins won 31-28. The Rams, they're still undefeated. They defeated the Broncos, who play on Thursday night against the Cardinals this week, 23-20. Todd Gurley, 28 carries, 208 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. The Baltimore Ravens shut out the Tennessee Titans 21-0. Dallas Cowboys defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 40-7. The Jags defense decided not to show up in this game. Then on Sunday night and Monday night, as I said, both games ended on a game-winning field goal. The Patriots defeated the Chiefs 43-40 on Sunday night. Patrick Mahomes played better than expected. 352 yards passing. Had 4 touchdowns, but he also had 2 picks. Tom Brady, 340 yards passing. 2 total touchdowns, 1 through the air and 1 on the ground. The Chiefs really came down to the run game, though. The Chiefs, they had 0 touchdowns rushing. The Patriots, they had 3. Sony Michel had 2 of those, and as I said, Tom Brady had 1. And then kicking was also key in this game. Stephen Gostkowski, 5 for 5 on field goals. Harrison Butker, 4 for 4 on field goals. I thought so far this season, this was the best game in the NFL. This was also Tom Brady's 200th regular season win. Aaron Rodgers led the Green Bay Packers back to victory on Monday night as the Packers defeated the San Francisco 49ers. C.J. Beathard played better than expected as well in his second or third game since Jimmy Garoppolo went down with an injury. 33-30, as I said. Aaron Rodgers did Aaron Rodgers, 425 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. The Packers were down 30-23, got the ball back, scored, and then the 49ers had the ball there, 10, 20, 30-yard line. Beathard threw a pick, his only pick of the game, and then Aaron Rodgers led the Packers downfield and set up a Mason Crosby field goal as time expired. Crosby, he bounced back this past week, as I thought he would last weekend. Last week when I recorded, I said potentially he could kick a game-winning field goal. He did. I thought he'd bounce back. He did. 2 weeks ago they played the Lions. He was 1 for 4 on field goals in that game in Detroit. Also had a missed extra point that game. But then on Monday night this past week, he was 4 for 4 on field goals. And that last one was key as the Packers defeated the 49ers 33-30 on Monday Night Football on a game-winning field goal. As I said, the Packers have a bye this week along with the Raiders, Seahawks, and Steelers, but their schedule not going to get any easier. When they come back from the bye, they go to Los Angeles to play the Rams. Then they go to Foxborough to play the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. You got the Dolphins squeezed in there, but then the Dolphins are playing well at the moment as well, so that might be a toss-up there. Brock Osweiler, though, is playing quarterback for the Dolphins, so I'd have to take Aaron Rodgers over Brocky Top. But then you got to go to Seattle to play the Seahawks on Thursday night, and then you go to Minnesota to play the Vikings on Sunday Night Football the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So Packers on a bye this week along with the Raiders, Steelers, and Seahawks, but their schedule isn't going to get any easier. NFL starts on Thursday. I'm going to predict and preview all 14 games in the NFL. The Broncos, as I said, go to Arizona on Thursday to play the Cardinals. Give me Denver in that. I'm surprised they haven't fired, what's his name yet, their head coach. Drawing a blank. As I said, I'm totally out of it today for some reason. Well, as I said, I'm not feeling that good, but I would have thought I'd be more into it today. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of this video. Totally can't think of... Vance Joseph is the head coach for the Broncos. I was going to say, totally can't think of his name at the moment, but the Broncos, they'll find a way to win over Josh Rosen and the Arizona Cardinals. The NFL heads across the pond once again. The Titans play the Chargers in London. Chargers, quietly one of the best teams in the NFL at the moment. Give me them over the Tennessee Titans. The Texans go to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. I think Houston's going to win 4 in a row after starting the season 0-3. So they'll be 4-3 hopefully after this weekend. The Panthers head north to Philadelphia from Charlotte to play the Eagles. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles over Cam Newton in the Carolina Panthers. A team that defeated the Eagles there a couple weeks ago in Philadelphia, the Vikings. They go to New York to play the Jets. I have written down here the Vikings to defeat Sam Darnold in the Jets. Brock Osweiler, as I said, will start once again for the Miami Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill is out with another injury. This might be his last season in Miami. I think they probably should go in a new direction in South Beach. Draft maybe Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State, Justin Herbert from Oregon, maybe Drew Lock from Missouri. Got a lot of time from now, the middle of October, until the end of April for the 2019 NFL Draft. I think this game will be close. I think the Dolphins will find a way to win, though. They'll defeat the Detroit Lions, who are coming off a bye last week after beating the Green Bay Packers at home. So give me the Dolphins over the Lions. Game of the week, Patriots and Bears. New England goes to Chicago to play the Bears. I have written down Chicago, but New England will probably win. We'll see. This game will probably be close as well. The Bears have one of the best offenses in the NFL, I believe, and they have a good defense as well, led by Khalil Mack there on the defensive line at linebacker. I have written down the Bears, but the Patriots will probably win. The Bills and Colts, give me Indianapolis in this rematch game of the Blizzard Bowl up in Buffalo last year. Remember this game just like it was yesterday. The Colts played Buffalo in Orchard Park, middle of December. There was like 10 feet of snow on the ground, and somehow, someway, the Bills found a way to win because Adam Vinatieri, who used to kick in the snow up in Foxborough when he was with the Patriots, couldn't kick in the snow in Buffalo. The Colts get revenge, though. They'll be playing inside in a dome. No snow in the forecast in Indianapolis this weekend. So there was snow, however, this past weekend in Denver, right before the Broncos hosted the Rams. But Colts, I think, will beat the Bills. The Saints, I think, will beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Saints were off last weekend. Drew Brees looking for his 500th career touchdown pass. He'll probably get it on Sunday afternoon. The Cowboys go to Washington to play the Redskins. And give me the Skins over the boys. The Rams, they go to San Francisco to play the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams, I think they'll get to 7-0. And then that game with Kansas City, I believe it's week 11. It's on Monday Night Football down in Mexico City, the Monday before Thanksgiving. That's still looking like a big game for both teams. The Chiefs, they lost for the first time this past weekend on a game-winning field goal to, the Patriots. I still think the Chiefs and Rams are, you got to throw New England in there as well. The two best teams in the NFL at the moment. But New England, they beat Kansas City head-to-head, so that's why I said you got to throw them in there too. But San Francisco, LA, I think will defeat San Francisco. Sunday night then, oh shit. I have down, all 14 games this weekend. I threw it in late for the hell of it, just to put all 14 games on the list for this weekend. The Browns, as I said, I threw it in late, so it's off to the side. I totally missed it. And I'll get to this game now, right before Sunday Night Football. Cleveland goes to Tampa Bay. So the Browns play the Buccaneers. Give me Cleveland over Tampa. Make that short and sweet. Sunday night football then, and then Monday night. Sunday night game's pretty good. Monday night game, not so much. The way the teams have been playing so far this season. The Bengals go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. The Rams 49ers game was actually supposed to be the Sunday night game this weekend, but the NFL flexed it out with the 49ers being down after losing Jimmy Garoppolo to injury. The Bengals lost to Pittsburgh this past weekend. Kansas City lost to New England this past weekend. So both teams coming off a loss, looking to get back to their winning ways. Give me Patrick Mahomes over Andy Dalton on Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs will defeat the Cincinnati Bengals, I believe. And then on Monday Night Football, as I said, Monday night matchup this weekend, not so good. The Giants play the Atlanta Falcons. As I said, the Giants, in my opinion, the only thing they really got going for them right now is Saquon Barkley at running back. A lot of people are saying they need to have a quarterback change, bench Eli. Eli, yeah, he's still a two-time Super Bowl champion, but I'll even say it, he really hasn't been playing that great as of late. I don't think you should make a quarterback change, though, because he could get out of it, and, they might be that team that gets on a win streak here, gets really, really hot, and then, they're still trying to inch their way closer to the playoffs, and especially playing in the NFC East, where the Redskins are the only team with a winning record. There's still a chance that they could, get into the playoffs. So the Giants, they go to Atlanta. The Falcons, coming off of a big win against the Buccaneers after losing to Pittsburgh there. This is really a toss-up game. I did have Atlanta down to win, but I changed my pick. I'm going to take the New York Football Giants on Monday Night Football. I think Saquon Barkley will probably have another good game. As I said, he's basically the only thing they got going for him at the moment. Matt Ryan to Julio Jones, Matt Ryan to Mohamed Sanu, Matt Ryan to Austin Hooper is Atlanta's offense at the moment. Really don't have that good of a run game. Devontae Freeman, they just put him on IR this week. Ito Smith, they have him. Also have Tevin Coleman, who's quietly having a decent year in Freeman's absence. I think it's going to come down to the run game, to be honest with you. Who's going to be able to run the ball better? You got two great quarterbacks in this game on Monday night. I think the Giants find a way to win, and I think the Giants defeat the Falcons on Monday Night Football. So those are my Week 8 college football predictions and Week 7 NFL predictions. Hopefully you enjoyed. As I said, if I'm feeling up to it on Saturday and Sunday, I'll be on Periscope for some college football and NFL games. We'll have to see about that. As I said, I was going to try to push through this and get this done and out of the way. Well, I just did, so hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, as I said, be sure to hit that like button right here on YouTube. Also subscribe to Gridiron Ring right here on YouTube, and like, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope. Go check out Gridiron Ring's website as well. All the links, including my Twitter and Instagram, are in the description below. Thanks for watching.